Alright, in today's video, we're going to be making an ammo refill station for my modified version of the FBS template in Roblox. Very simple to do, so we're just going to jump straight in. I'm recovering from being sick, so my voice might be a little out of it, so bear with me. I'm going to start off by creating a simple part. If you have a mesh or model that you want to use, feel free to use it. Um, but I'm just going to create a simple box and just change the color, anchor it, get rid of this weld. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a proximity prompt. Now, proximity prompts are very useful because we have a lot of things at our fingertips. We have the action text, the object text, duration, um, different key codes, and it's also compatible with controller, and it's also visually appealing to the player. I'm just going to go ahead and change the hold duration just to make it more appealing, visually appealing. And we're going to go ahead and add a script. I'm going to rename this script to refill script. And I'm also going to rename our part here to refill station. And we can get rid of this. Now, before we start, there's a few things we have to set up. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let's go inside our tool. Let's scroll down and find our attributes. Now we have ammo attribute, magazine size, and total ammo. These are the attributes that we're going to be focusing in on. Now, inside a lot of the scripts, ammo and magazine size work together. So magazine size is our kind of our set base amount. So when we reload, ammo knows to set its amount to whatever magazine size is. And magazine size doesn't change unless we want to change it. But total ammo, the way we have it set up now, total ammo is always going down. So it doesn't have a base amount. So we have to change that. We have to set a base amount for total ammo. Since total ammo is going down, we have to, and now that we're refilling ammo, we're going to need a base amount to refill too. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's create an attribute. We'll call this new max, and we'll change this to a number. And we'll set the amount to whatever the total ammo is, which is 120. Now, for this video, I'm only going to do 2 tools, but you're going to have to create an attribute for every single tool that you have. And I'll just create a new attribute for the pistol. And we'll just call it new max. Change it to a number and save. And I believe this is 60. Double check, total ammo 60. And these are all set up and ready to go. Now, if we go inside replicated storage, and inside our blaster folder, we have our constants module. And this is where a lot of the attributes are being placed and called. Now, we don't have to put this new attribute inside this constants module because we're not going to be using our constants module inside our refill script. But good practice, and also just in case we want to use it later on, we can. So that's why I'm going to place the new attribute inside the constants module. So we're going to say new total ammo equals new max, and that's just ready to go, and that's just good practice. um yeah, we can actually just go inside our refill script. Now let's think about our problem for a second. We need to call our refill station so that we can use it. We need to get our proximity prompt, and we need to figure out our problem, which is refilling our ammo. So we're going to need the attributes for our tools, but not only the tool that we're holding, but also the tools in our backpack. So we also have to keep that in mind. So let's start with the easiest, which is getting our object, which is the ammo refill station. So we'll create a variable called local refill station equals script dot parent. Now, why we're doing script dot parent is because if we go inside our refill station, find our script, the parent is refill station. So that's why we're going to be using script dot parent. It's just easier. So now we can get our, now that we have our object, we can get our proximity prompt. So we can say local trigger equals refill station, and we're going to find the first child in anything called proximity prompt. It's going to find it, and now we can use it. Now, we're going to need an event, which I will explain later on in the video. But just to make things easier, I'm just saying local rep equals game, get service, replicated storage. And now we can start scripting. So being that we're using this trigger here, I'm just going to localize this function. So I'm going to say local function, and then I'm going to say on prompt triggered, and I'm going to plug in player. And now I think the easiest thing to do is to loop through the backpack. So let's create a simple loop, which is for underscore comma, and we're going to call everything tool, the name tool. We could change this to anything. We could change this to like this, and as you know, as long as we call it. But just for simplicity, we're gonna call it tool in pairs, and then we can say player dot backpack because it's lowercase, I believe. Get children. So basically, we're gonna get the player, get the backpack, and then we're gonna get all the children inside the backpack, and then we want it to do something. Okay, so now we can say if tool is a, thank you, assistant, tool, then. So if tool is a tool, then now we can get our attributes. So we can say local ammo and local magazine. And then we can say this equals tool. Then we say get attribute. And I believe, since we're not using our constants here, we have to call the name of our attribute. So if we find our tool, we scroll down. The name is underscore ammo. So we say underscore ammo. And then we can do the same thing for our magazine, which is tool, get attribute. And I believe this is called magazine size. Let's double check. Magazine size. Okay, so now we can use this. So let's do a simple check. We can say if ammo and magazine and ammo is less than magazine, then. And then now we can say tool set attribute. We get our ammo. And then we set it to magazine. Very simple. And basically it. Like I said, it's very simple. Now we got to do the same thing for our total ammo, but you know, it's basically just copy and paste. So we can say local total ammo equals tool get attribute total ammo, and then local new total equals tool get attribute new max. Pretty sure that's what we called it, right? New max, yep. And now we can just say if total ammo and new total, and total ammo is less than new total, then we just set the attribute. New total. Very simple. So that basically takes care of the tools in the backpack. So now what do we do for the tool that we're using? Well, we need to get out of this loop because, since we're only doing like a single object, we don't really need to loop it. We could create a new variable called local equipped tool equals player character find first child, spell it, find first child, which is a tool. Then we can say if equip tool, then, and then we could just copy and paste all of this and just plug it down here. And then we can just take our equip tool, copy that, and then just paste over our tool. As simple as that. Now, you know what? Let's go ahead and create a sound. I'm going to say local function play sound and local sound equals instance dot new sound sound dot parent equals refill station, and we'll keep this blank for now until we find a sound, and then we play. But we also don't want the sound to keep building up in the workspace since we're going to be creating sounds. So we could say sound dot ended colon connect function. Then we can say sound colon destroy. Like I said, we're going to be creating a sound. It's going to play, and once it ends, it'll destroy it. So we don't, since we're going to be creating, it's going to keep building and building and building every time the player um, refills the ammo, and we don't want that. So we want to destroy the sound when it ends. And now we can use this function and in the correct places. So when we set the attribute, we could just say play sound, and we can also do it here as well. And to make this all work, we can come down here and we can say trigger dot triggered colon connect, and then we just plug in our on prompt triggered function, and that should work. Now we're going to be running into a few bugs here. Oops. And I'll explain those here in a second. I'm just going to go ahead and find a sound real quick. Okay, so I found a sound, and let's go ahead and test everything out, and I can explain the bugs we're going to be running into. Okay, so let's fire off some ammo. This also has the attribute. All right, so let's go ahead and use our new ammo refill station. Sound played, but nothing changed. So let's go inside the player and find our tool and make sure that it's setting on the server side. And as you can see, our ammo is 30. What about our total ammo? Total ammo is 120. So on the server side, it is saying your ammo is refilled. But on the GUI, it's saying no, it's 24 at 115. But if we go back, you will see when we switch to the pistol's ammo is set to 10, but our total ammo is 56. Now, if we switch back to the AK, you will see that now the ammo is 30, but the total ammo is 115. So, what is going on there? Well, let me explain. Let's clean this up. Let's go inside our replicated storage, inside our blaster, inside our scripts, and let's find our blaster controller script. And we're going to scroll down to our equipped function. So we're going to find our equip function. So when the blaster is equipped, you will see that we have this comment, resync ammo. So it's resyncing the ammo. It's also, resyncing the GUI. But it's not doing that for the our max ammo, which we have set up, max ammo. So it's not setting up, it's not resyncing the values for our max ammo. So all we got to do is self.maxammo equals self.blaster get attribute constants dot total ammo. And then we can go to our GUI. We can say self.GUI controller. I believe it is set max ammo is the way we have it set up. And then we just plug in our self.max ammo. And this should resync our values. Now we got to get to the second portion of our bug, which is, so let's fire off some rounds here. As you can see, it doesn't set our equip tools ammo, but if we switch to the pistol now, it is set to 10 out of 60. But now when we switch back, it is 30 out of 120. So we're almost there. And this is why we need an event now. So let's go back to our refill script. And let's go inside our replicated storage here. And we're going to create a folder. And I'm just going to rename this to events. And why we're going to put this in replicated storage, because, well, this is going to be replicated, so it would make sense to put it in the replicated storage. So let's add an event, a remote event inside our events. Let's rename this to refill event. And now we can plug this in somewhere. We're going to plug it in for our equip tool. So we're going to go ahead and put it right down here. We're going to say rep.events, refill event, and then we're going to fire client, and then we're going to plug in our player. Simple as that. And now we can go back to our blaster controller, and we'll come right down here, and right above our while true do statement, we can say game replicated storage dot events dot refill event on client event :connect function. We'll keep this blank. And then basically, like above, we just get our ammo, max ammo, and our GUI. So we could say self.ammo equals self.blaster ammo attribute. Get attribute constants dot total ammo. And then we can get our GUI, set ammo, self.ammo. And then we can finally get our max ammo here, set max ammo, self. and that should take care of our problem. So let's go ahead and test it out. All right, let's test it out. All right, so let's refill, and it refills back to 1060. And if we switch, everything is in its correct amount. And we'll make sure everything is correct on the server, because that's very important. 30, 120. Check the pistol. 10, 60. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's very simple to do. And, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.